Hey, how's it going? In today's video, we're going over Boruto 2 Blue Vortex Chapter 9. Honestly guys, this series just keeps getting better and better in my opinion. It was a great chapter this month. The cover this time around was great as well, as we get to see Team 10 in their official time skip colors. Ikimoto truly has improved as an artist over time. The title this time around is called Nine Tails, which we already know what that's leading to. Alright, so with that being said, let's dive right into the review. So the chapter picks off right where we left off previously as Jura and Hidari stare down Team 10 and Himawari. Jura once again expresses his shock at expecting to see Naruto because he sensed the Nine Tails chakra, only to find Himawari instead. And this was a nice callback to part 1 of the series, where Damon sensed a great intensity coming from Himawari back when they first met. At the time, we all thought as fans that this was just Damon sensing her hidden potential with the Byakugan, because the anime teased this a lot back in the day. But we soon learn in this chapter that it's more complex than that. Shikadai is confused and asks Jura why did he and Hidari come to the village and what exactly are they after. Jura proceeds to do something rather interesting. He pulls out a booklet and recognizes Shikadai as part of Moegi's Team 10. Interestingly enough, we learn Moegi's last name, Kaza Matsuri, which is what her Senju counterpart has borrowed aspects of for her own name. Although Matsuri is a different character, the psychological aspects of the original could potentially hold her back in the future. Jura also expresses that out of respect for their relation to Moegi and by extension Matsuri, he does not wish to fight them. He is simply after Himawari. Something I also found interesting is that Shikadai communicates with the sensory unit and says that although they sense Sasuke's chakra, there is no sign of Sasuke. So Shikadai and the others don't associate Hidari with Sasuke at all, like the shinobi in the previous chapter did. Team 10 then asks, what does the Nine Tails have to do with Himawari? Jura says he does not know, and that the world keeps raising one question after another. And this is where we get to see Jura's character flaw get exposed a little bit. For the first time, he uses logic and books to rationalize the world, but then the world provides an unpredictable element for him, because people are not static creatures, they are constantly evolving and changing. Jura then expresses that through excitement that he likes that the world is unpredictable at times. It gives him a type of thrill when he seeks his answers, even if they're not the ones he is expecting. He then proceeds to wrap Himawari in a tree similar to what he did to Kawaki in the previous chapter. Team 10 then moves into position to rescue Himawari. I just have to note, I love that these three characters are getting more screen time in the manga. They were so heavily underplayed in part 1 of the series. I hope the other side characters get more time to shine as well in the future chapters. What's even more interesting is Jura's reaction to seeing Team 10 rescuing Himawari. Despite not exchanging a single word, they managed to work in complete unison, which is a classic of Inoshika-cho. That dynamic will never change no matter what the generation. Jura expresses no desire to harm Team 10, so even though he can be brutal, due to his newfound intelligence, he is capable of being somewhat rational. Shikadai then communicates telepathically with Shikamaru and fills him in on the situation, that the Shinju are after the Nine Tails. Himawari is very confused by everything, and she has no idea why these weird looking guys are after her. We cut to the next scene where we see Amato watching live surveillance of Kawaki. I am convinced he knows who Kawaki truly is. Whether he is immune to omnipotence or not is irrelevant at this point. Amato would not be watching Kawaki like this if he didn't know the truth. Amato then gets a chance to look at Jura, and I want to point this out. Amato has no idea who or what Jura is. He is being genuine because no one else is watching him in this scene, at least not directly. The Shinju were not a part of his plan, and Shikamaru once said that everything that has gone wrong has worked in Amato's favor, almost as if Amato wrote a script that's being executed. I somewhat agree, but I also disagree with that notion. He is a master planner for sure, but he is also a master of improvising. In this case, I think he is going to add Jura to his plan similar to what he did to Code, and make his services invaluable to the Leaf to keep gaining favor and advantage. I wouldn't even be surprised if he makes Kawaki stronger to stand up to them. Remember, he needs Kawaki alive no matter what in order to bring Akabi back to life. So we cut to another scene as we get to see Kashin Koji has been watching the events take place through his surveillance toads. This makes sense now on how Boruto was able to show up so quickly against Code all the way back in chapter 1 of Blue Vortex. Boruto and Koji have been keeping tabs on the village for a couple of years now. I find it interesting that Koji does not go with Boruto. He truly does not want Amato to know he's alive. That would, after all, blow his advantage since Amato does indeed have a shutdown command for him. He must also know that Amato is up to something far worse than what the Shinju are doing. Otherwise, if he didn't view Amato as a threat, it would be completely pointless for him not to join the battle. Jura decides that he wants to devour Himawari now in order to get answers on why he senses the Nine-Tails chakra inside of her. So the reason Jura wanted to eat Naruto may not have been as deep as we originally thought as fans. He may have simply wanted to devour a chakra signature similar to his own. We have to recall that the Nine-Tails and the other tailed beasts are derived from another Ten-Tails after all. I just wanted to note that Shikamaru was suspicious of another person working with Boruto thanks to Kawaki's words in a previous chapter, and now Koji has revealed himself to the Eito Kage. So now Shikamaru will have a much easier time getting in touch with Boruto and have eyes and ears around the village, in a way similar to Eida's Shinragan. More importantly though, Koji can reveal a lot to Shikamaru when it comes to intel on Amato. I am sure Koji knows a lot more about Amato than we think. Amato wanted to tie up Koji as a loose end for a reason. Boruto immediately uses the flying Raijin to teleport into the village and is linked with Shikamaru almost as fast. He is filled in on the situation and like everyone else, he is confused on why the Shinju are after Himawari, or more specifically the Nine-Tails. Unfortunately, before he gets the chance to save his sister from imminent danger, Kawaki detects his presence. Kawaki, being the scum he is as usual, fills in the sensory unit that Boruto is in the area. Kawaki then asks if the Shinju are friends of Boruto. His view of Otsutsuki is so radicalized at this point, he doesn't even realize they're facing the same enemy. Boruto tells Kawaki that this isn't the time for their little feud, and then he states to Kawaki that he needs to be protecting the Leaf Village from the enemy instead of standing around. Kawaki then states that Boruto is in denial and that he is the enemy of the Leaf, once again showing his hypocrisy. Enemy of the Leaf or enemy to you? Because last time I checked, Boruto is the one who ran Code out of the Leaf Village, not him. What makes this even worse is that the way the world views Boruto is actually how the world truly views Kawaki. So all the hate Boruto has gotten is really a reflection of Kawaki's own betrayal. Boruto then says that they need to put their differences aside and work together, which discusses Kawaki even more. Kawaki then proceeds to use Sukuna Hikona to shoot out rods at Boruto, which Boruto easily dodges. And I want you to really let this sink in how much of a beast Boruto has become. Naruto and Sasuke couldn't even do that against Jigen, an imperfect vessel to Ishiki, while they were in their prime. Naruto had to literally enter Baryon mode to catch Ishiki's rods with his bare hands. Kawaki and Delta are both shocked, and then Kawaki shoots out another set of rods at Boruto, which once again Boruto easily dodges. The previous chapters were blatantly telling us that Boruto was far stronger than Kawaki, and if Boruto went as far as making such an elaborate plan to take down Code, it was very obvious that he also made himself ready to handle Kawaki. Kawaki realizes his tactic was not working, and like in chapter 66 of part 1, he decides he wants to kill Boruto in the same way by impaling him. And this is my second favorite panel in the chapter. Boruto shows Kawaki point blank that if you think I'm the same person who ran away from the village, you're sadly mistaken. Boruto delivers a clean shot to Kawaki's stomach, knocking him away. Ironically, as much as Kawaki hates Code, they actually think alike. They both thought that they were better than Boruto because they defeated him in the past and felt there was no need to train, only to receive a rude awakening. Boruto is the man. Boruto, despite being a little younger than Kawaki expresses disappointment almost like an older brother. Like, have you been training at all? Like, this is pathetic. And I love Delta's reaction. It's priceless. She's like, well, what kind of monstrous training have you done? I mean, Sasuke and Koji, they created a monster, that's for sure. Kawaki then decides to activate his Karma Seal. He's done playing around. Unfortunately, this caused the Karma Resonance to occur in Boruto's body. So this is the first time we get to see Boruto's Karma activated in part 2 of the series. So Boruto did not find a way to actually seal away Momoshiki after all. He simply found a method to suppress Momoshiki's consciousness and did not use the karma anymore to keep Momoshiki at bay. Koji tells Boruto he needs to leave and put a lot of distance between himself and Kawaki before a great evil emerges and Boruto loses control. So unfortunately, Boruto has to retreat from Kawaki despite being stronger than him. Because if Boruto managed to get to Ishiki's level of power without his Karma Seal, just imagine how strong Momoshiki would be after taking over his body. I suspect he would be even stronger than Jura himself. So Kawaki learns a major weakness of Boruto as well. As long as the Karma Resonance is a thing, he has an advantage over the more unstable Boruto. I find it interesting that the Karma Resonance did not take place with Code once he activated his white Karma against Boruto earlier in the series. Maybe that has to do with the fact that it is a failed version of it. Shikadai proceeds to use the Shadow Possession Jutsu, which seems to be virtually useless in the Boruto franchise unless you use it along with other jutsu. Jura doesn't have the karma to absorb it, which is a good thing, because that was a very repetitive trope in part 1 of the series. Instead, Jura decides to create a freaking Biju bomb with one eye to blow up Shikadai. Talk about overkill. Chocho knocks away Jura in time, and Team 10 and Himawari manage to get a lot of distance away from the Shinju. Shikadai and the others decide to lead Jura and Hidari outside the village. Himawari then expresses that she needs to run away on her own, since they're specifically after her, not Team 10 nor the village. Before Team 10 could talk her out of it, she is put in a trance-like state and her consciousness is transferred elsewhere. And what a great way to end the chapter. To the many fans who suspected Kurama would be back, my hat goes off to you. A beloved character is back from the dead, but there is something that is off. Kurama has been watching Naruto and his family for years. It's strange he didn't refer to her by her first name, but instead referred to her as little girl. So is this the same Kurama? Or did Himawari's chakra just manifest a new version of him? I guess we'll find out in the next chapter, but this is very exciting and I'm very happy to see this character return. So until next time guys, peace out.